Hey, it's Alan here.
And Bre. And
And
we
we
are
are
the
the
Hunter
Hunter
and the
and the
Hippie.
Hippie. Connected through yoga and bonded by our love of the wild places and the love for outdoors, we've come together to share our conversations about life.
Well, maybe more so what we've learned or are continuing to learn about life.
And there's no one way to do it. Life, that is.
And hopefully provide you with some teeny tiny bits of inspiration to connect deeper with yourself, others, and our great Mother Earth.
All right, enough already about the podcast. Let's just get to the podcast.
All right, so if you are seated, find a comfortable seat or lie down. If you can't lie down, just maybe soften the gaze or feel just an internal awareness. So closing your eyes if you can. And then just take a few breaths, natural breaths, to begin noticing how your body and your breath feels right now. You might notice which areas of your body receive your breath, which areas might find some constriction or denseness. I'm not looking to change it, but just observing. Observing your entire body, the range of sensations, the impact of your natural breath. And I invite you to think or imagine maybe a heavy experience, and you get to choose how heavy it is. And just imagine all the details, or begin thinking about all the details. And if you don't want to approach something very heavy, maybe it was just a small trigger from a comment someone made, a conversation, maybe it was a red light that you got stuck at. So just any heavy experience within your capacity right now. And as you think about this experience in detail, or imagine it, start to notice where it shows up in your body. Maybe you place your palm on it for just a moment. Notice the sensations in this area of the body. And begin to slow down your exhales. As you slow down your exhales, feel the impact of the parasympathetic nervous system. And then release the story or the thoughts or the images around the experience, and just be left with the sensation. And if it changes, just stay with it. Continuing to breathe with it. Again, not to change it or control it, but to allow it to exist just as it is. To create space for it. You might even say it's okay that you're here. And continuing to observe it as it changes or moves, and breathing with it. Knowing that you can be with whatever arises and your breath. You can be with heaviness and experience ease at the same time. You can be with whatever is just as it is. Gently drawing your chin towards your chest. And when you feel ready, slowly fluttering your eyes open.
Thank
Welcome
you. Welcome
Yeah.
back. So we have a lot going on. And
Yeah.
you were just away for 2 weeks. I'm going away for 2 weeks. So I want to hear how your last 2 weeks was.
Yeah.
And I want to share with you about my next 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and your last 2 weeks if you want.
there is nothing in the last 2 weeks worth talking about for me. I got it out. I got it out in part one.
Okay.
I got it out in part one.
That was the last 2 weeks for you?
The last 2 weeks for me has been darkness.
Yeah.
The light is coming.
Yeah. Well, we haven't talked in like 3 weeks actually.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've spoken.
Yeah. Because it was before, like, I got back from my training on Monday and we recorded it, and I was there for 2 weeks, and so recorded that previous week for while I was gone.
Did you have a retreat of some sort, like before, or was there? No, you left for the training, right? Like after you taught this?
It got canceled. I had the llama retreat that we just were a few people short of making it go. So yeah, it's life.
Yeah,
flow with it.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So that was canceled, but I have a self-care retreat in beginning of October. It's almost sold out, so that's cool.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Where is that? It's up in Cody?
No, it's southern Montana. So
oh, beautiful.
Yeah, Chico Hot Springs, which is just north of Yellowstone, about an hour south of Bozeman. So
awesome. When is that?
It's October 1st to the 3rd, and it's a women's only, which is the first time I've ever done that. I know.
Well,
I'm like
I guess I'm not going to that.
I know.
I've been looking for a retreat. It'd be cool to do one with the wife.
Yeah. I know.
Fine.
It's
I don't want to go to your stupid retreat anyway.
I've never done a women's only, and so it was interesting to like give this a shot. And I will say, logistically, it's a little bit easier because when people want to do shared rooms, then you're not having to like figure that out.
Man and woman staying in the same room, and
not everyone's comfortable with that. So I did have, like, one of my past retreats, I had a man willing to be in a shared room, but all the other men were there with their wives. So the men were sharing a room with their wife, and then all of a sudden you lose a whole like bunk room because you have no one else to put in it. And it's not, I just don't feel it's appropriate to, like, some people don't feel comfortable saying no, and so I wouldn't want to be like,
don't even want to ask, right?
Yeah, I don't want to put someone in that situation.
Right.
But anyway, so this is a women's only, and it, I think, I think there's really powerful about like a men's only retreat. Same thing with a women's only. You get to create space that's just a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But then, that just means, no, you gotta attend one. I was like, we gotta put that in the works. But
We're gonna have our own. We're gonna have the Hunter and the Hippie retreat soon.
yes, Alaska.
Yeah, next week.
I was
next week. Let's do it.
I'm there. I was planning to do an Alaska retreat in the fall, like in September, and I just was like, there's too many irons in the fire. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do it. And then
September in Alaska is winter.
No, not yet. Not quite. I was like, it'd be cool because
there's 2 seasons in Alaska. It's winter and not winter.
And mosquito season.
Right.
Well, it was actually a hot spring location that was super cool, and they have these like little ATV rides up to watch the Northern Lights if it happens to work out. So, yeah. Anyway,
it's cool. They just got to turn the switch on. They hit the switch.
Yeah, where's the light?
Northern Lights turn on.
The Northern Lights. I was out backpacking. I took a woman and her daughter, 10-year-old daughter, out backpacking, and
cool.
the 10-year-old had never been backpacking.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And sorry, is this my computer that's like a little making weird noises? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been watching my GarageBand go haywire this entire time.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like freaking out in hopes that the sound isn't fucking crazy. At this point, there's nothing we could do. And I'm watching my mic volumes go from like the full span of the box to like this, like all the way up. And I'm like, whatever. At this point, whatever. We'll
work with what we got. We've worked with others. We've troubleshooted a lot of things. So just another thing to learn. Yeah, but there was I think it was a meteor actually. I slept. It's awesome because August is the season you can bivvy. Like I just slept on a sleeping pad in my sleeping bag, like not even in a bivvy, because it was warm enough. And on Thursday night, I was like watching the stars, and there was a massive shooting star, but I think it was a meteor because it was like a huge tail that like faded, like it kind of lingered.
That's great.
And it like took up the whole span of my sight. And then there was other shooting stars, but they were much smaller. I was like, maybe that was a meteor. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, all that to say, I was in Florida for 2 weeks, 12 days of a yoga therapy training. And so I am in an 800-hour yoga therapy program. And there's different modules that you have to take. And this one will be, when I complete the practicum, will be 120-hour certification. So it's like a standalone, but it also is part of my bigger accreditation. But it was titled, because Yoga Alliance is weird about using the word therapy, so it's titled like body psychology. But it's yoga therapy. And it was fascinating. I keep saying it's kind of like a cross between physical therapy and psychotherapy. So you're working potentially with like physical ailments, but also the root. So working on clearing those blockages so that energy can move freely. One of the books I'm reading right now, it's called Body Mind, and it's a lot about how we hold different emotional or psychosomatic components within our body and where and what they represent and things like that. And I just read something recently where he said, if I was to give someone a brand new body over a certain period of time, the body would reform back to the old body because of the psychosomatic components. And so it's pretty much...
That's how powerful the mind is.
Exactly. And so what...
That you could have like brand new physical body, but your brain, right, it's the same.
The patterns.
And and your body would just revert back to the current body you're in based on...
If you didn't
change. The power, based
mm-hmm.
on the power of the mind. Everything
mm-hmm.
that's connected to that. That's crazy.
And what that also means is like we have the ability in the body that we have to change our thoughts and change those patterns and begin to actually, like you'll start to carry yourself differently. Like there's
20-year-old body, here I come.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I actually much prefer my body now than my body in the 20s.
Same. I'm on this like thing of to be the best shape of my life by the time I'm 50.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's a great goal because what that means is every year I have to be in better shape.
Yeah.
So if I'm in great shape today, I have to be better next year in order.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm 12 years, 11 years, 11 maybe, and close to 11 and a half years away from 50. But yeah, like every year I have to be better.
Yeah.
In order to be in the best shape of my life, because I'm in great shape right now. And yeah, but there's things like right now I'm like sitting here, like I can't sit back because I'll be too far from my mic. My shoulder is killing me, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had a 20-year-old shoulder right now.
Oh, the right shoulder. Okay.
The right shoulder.
You know what? What the shoulders? It's the shoulders.
It's the what? The
shoulders.
Oh yeah.
The shoulds.
Yeah, the
all
shoulds.
The shoulds
really?
in your shoulders. Yeah, and then
right
would be masculine, so it could be something like action oriented or business or like all of that. So I don't know. I also think you've been working a lot and traveling a lot for work, so maybe there's
there's a lot of shoulds in my life right now and a lot of work. So and like it's deep. It's like deep in like the like under the scapula.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you just heard that. But I lifted my arm up and it cracked in there and doing this right now. So like starting from like right here, going up, it's not smooth. Like it's like clicking all the way up. So yeah, we need to work through that. I need some yoga therapy.
Well, the yoga therapy is all about, instead of thinking your way through healing, mm-hmm. it's about feeling your way. Okay. Right? So that's, again, like the mind, when the mind rests back, the body or physiology can be free to do what it does best. Mm-hmm. And a lot of our blockages within our body that, like, again, build up are our resistance to feeling certain things. And a lot of times it happens because of survival, right? So like mm-hmm. you aren't in the place where you can feel it at that moment. But if you never feel it, it'll just continue to build up and you'll again create those patterns. And then you also begin to see through those glasses, right? So so a lot of physical therapy, right, is just working on the physical body. So again, the symptoms that are showing up.
Yep.
Versus realizing what is underlying. I mean, I had a client, this is before taking this program, and she, had talked about, she had this really bad back pain. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to divulge information, but something occurred and all of a sudden the back pain dissipated, and she realized, oh, this was related to this kind of emotional holding. So it's and I'm not saying it replaces Western medicine. I think there's a place for both, but I think it's really important that we start to consider addressing both sides, because we're very heavy on one. And
right. I agree. I think that we need both. Western, right? If you think about prior to Western medicine, what was the average lifespan, right? Like you had kings who were like 11, 12, right? Like a long lifespan was living until 23.
Yeah, but what about like Tibetan monks and like all those guys? How long were they living?
Yeah, I don't know. Is there reports of like how long they lived?
I should look that up.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. But so with Western medicine, I believe, has its place, but we need the Eastern medicine. We need the holistic. We need to treat our bodies, right? We need to get rid of. We talked about in part one is like getting rid of that darkness, not just holding it in. Getting rid of that heaviness and dealing with it, because it's going to manifest into something else. It's going to manifest into further and deeper darkness that, potentially can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially will kill you. But yeah, I think that there's like breathing. No one talks about breath. Right? Yoga teachers talk about breath, but no one else. Yeah. Like you don't go to your doctor, your Western medicine doctor, and talk to them about like, hey, sinus infection, or hey, whatever, my shoulder hurts,
mm-hmm.
and no one says to you, well, what's your breathing like?
Mm-hmm.
Is your we don't have to dive deep into breathing, but no one talks about that. And your breath is so critical, right? Your breath, quick nerdy science breakdown, your red blood cells is what takes oxygen to all the places in your body, mm-hmm. right? Oxygen is the key to life. And so when we breathe in, if we're not breathing in quality air, well, what kind of quality oxygen is going to our body, right? And everything starts from the lungs. Right? You have to breathe in, and then there's alveoli. I don't know how to say alveoli, I think it's called, in your lungs, that when you breathe in, it's what oxygenates your red blood cells. And then your red blood cells is pumped by the heart through the body, mm-hmm. delivering oxygen to all sorts of places in the body, and then helping you get rid of, expelling it, through the lungs, the carbon dioxide and the toxins. And that's Eastern medicine, but no one's talking about it here. And I bet you if I just sat here and really focused on some breath work and focused on breathing, focused on what's going on in my shoulder, I'm not going to heal it, but I'm going to help dissipate some of the pain and, really look into what's really going on with my shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Get some insight into the wisdom,
mm-hmm.
wisdom of the body.
Yeah. So what's like what's the 3 things you learned that you'll take away from the last 2 weeks of your school?
Yeah. So the big, like kind of one of the main practices that, and this isn't just in there, what I love about Amrit Institute is they're kind of the foundation of their practice. It weaves through every one of their trainings. Mm-hmm. So it just looks a little bit different depending on how you're using it. So like a regular yoga class, it's used differently than how I would in a yoga therapy class, but they work with the edge and being at the edge, and breathing at the edge, right? So it's that first level of, it's that edge of discomfort, but not to the point where the quality of your breath eliminates, right? So what we tend to do, a lot of us power through. So we actually don't ever feel our edge, because we can sometimes we can go right past our edge and then there's another edge, right? But we never felt that first edge because we said like, well, I can go into the pose here, so I'm just going to go into the pose here. Mm-hmm. But I skipped over that. Like if I bring this is like one of their examples, if I bring my arms over my head, oh, actually I have a first point of resistance right here. Sure, I can go here, but did I just zoom right past my edge?
And then you changed a whole bunch of structure there too.
Yeah.
In doing that.
And it's not just a physical edge, it's a mental edge.
Right.
Because if I stop here, this is also a mental edge because I'm like, no. Like, like who's showing up that's like, no, I have to get my arms overhead, right?
Yeah, your ego.
Yeah. And so this work is, it's a hands-on, there's a group yoga therapy classes that you can do, and then working with private clients. And so the work is an assisted, I mean, you can do hands-free, but I think there's a lot of power in the hands-on one-on-one client sessions. So I'm assisting working people at their edges, and then we're moving into feeling, right? So just being at that point of discomfort, breathing with it, but feeling it. And there's just an incredible amount of like actual emotional releases that begin to happen in these practices. It's wild. I mean, I am only going to speak to myself. I had it in the group therapy class, a massive emotional blockage cleared.
That's awesome.
It was surprising to me, and I was bawling out of it was, the class was 75 minutes or an hour and a half, and something came in to my awareness. It wasn't like, I don't even know, we were working in the first and second chakras, and something came into my awareness in a new perspective of something that I hadn't
It's not like you learned something new.
Yeah.
Like that thing's there. You got a different perspective of it, which is so powerful. And that, like, and I don't want to interrupt, I want you to keep going, but like perspective, it comes back to accountability in my sense. Like, you have to be able to see that, like, oh, there's something there I didn't see before. Right? This is a new angle of looking at it. And you have to be willing and ready to like take that and like in your case, this is going to be hard, right? This is going to be difficult, right? This is, but doing that work, what's it going to bring from the other side? And setting your ego aside to be like, what is this new way of seeing this old thing?
But that's the thing, is it wasn't cultivate. I wasn't seeking it. I wasn't, and that's the whole practice is
interesting.
We mind our way through things, right? And so this practice is, I'm actually just going to rest back and listen, and then allow things to surface. Versus a lot of like, say, talk therapies, they spend so much time on like rehashing the past or going through it, and like you're then stuck in that cycle of the past, and you're never. I mean, unless you have, like, you actually kind of get a felt sense and like integrate, you're going to be kind of stuck in that cycle of the past story. And so it's like, not when I was doing, in this part of the class, my mind wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go think about this. Somehow it just surfaced. And I'll tell, like, it was about, I had a pretty traumatic experience, like, 20 years ago, that'd be right. Yeah. And I felt I had resolved with that traumatic experience. But what I realized I hadn't resolved was the person I became from that experience. So the person who, and, again, like, I became that person because it was like my protection. It was all of these things that I had to, like, I thought I had to do to survive at that point. And I actually, like, that's what resolved. It wasn't that experience. I think that was fully resolved, but it was, again, the person I became from it. And the guilt and shame I had around that person and all the choices I made as that person for a decade, probably. And it was actually just acknowledging, because I have a lot of left side injuries, which are the feminine. And like my left shoulder, my left hip, like it's kind of crazy. And I've done a lot of working with the feminine, and honoring it, because I had been in such like a masculine kind of approach back when I was like business operations and career driven and all these things. And the kind of epiphany was like, my right side is tired. My masculine is tired. And that's okay. And my feminine is hurt. And that's okay. And it was like this weird, because I put so much energy on this that it's almost like I just ignore that. And it's like, no, it's tired of doing all the work. But it's also not allowing this other side to show up. And this is what was hurt from the experiences, my past experiences.
That's
and it was
powerful.
And I started to cry. I didn't know I was going to cry. I started to cry, and I hold it in. Right. And that's that pattern. Is I can't show emotion. I can't show weakness, whatever that looks like. What happens? My throat starts to burn. That's our, our throat chakra is like the lid between our heart and our mind, right? And it's self-expression, and it's our authentic self-expression. And here I am, crying, wanting to cry, and holding it down, and it's burning. And then I finally just like let it out, and I'm just like bawling in front of 30 people, 25 people. I mean, not in front of, but like.
Yeah, they're there.
This is like day 3,
They're there.
And I'm just like sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. And it's just like, the pain goes away in my throat, because I'm like actually expressing what I never got to feel over 20 years. 20 years of something I never allowed myself to feel. I finally felt.
Yeah, it's powerful.
And it was like great, like, yeah, and those are the things. It's like I didn't bring that into my mind. I didn't say I'm going to go think about this traumatic event. Somehow it surfaced, and it showed up in a different way, and this again realization occurred, and then cleared itself out.
That's incredible.
So that is not one of 3. That I'm just going to leave it with that.
Yeah,
I feel like that kind of encompasses the work.
If that's the thing that you got, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you got anything from that, that's huge. If just for yourself, period, right? Like the ability to heal yourself. You said something at the end there. I want to make sure I acknowledge, like, that's powerful, and I'm so glad that you got that for yourself. But something you said there at the end when you were talking about like holding in, right? I've had this thought over the last few weeks about how we monitor ourselves. And it shows up in different ways, and that's one of them, right? Like I can't cry in this group of 30 people, right? Like I have to hold it in, and you don't let your full expression out. And it's the same, like, have you ever like smiled? Like think about something that recently has possibly made you smile. And maybe you were like about to like have this big cheesy smile, and like you monitored yourself into like, I can't smile like that. Like I've done it. Like something happened where a friend reached out and just shared some really kind words, and I noticed like my smile started to like my happiness level, like it was like my happiness bucket, like the meter filled up, and like I felt it coming, like I felt like this release of like happiness drug from these words, and I totally suppressed it, and I was like you can't smile that cheesy. Like you can't have this big goofy smile, and you don't be too happy about that, right? Like yeah. Like but and it's, I'm glad that you brought up like the crying, like because it's still an emotion, right? It's smiling, being happy, sadness, whatever it is that you're feeling, like feel it. And I caught myself in doing it. I totally caught myself in the moment. I was like, whoa, what did I didn't finish the smile. Like I didn't get my smile out as I should.
Yeah.
But I totally caught myself and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Mm.
And since then I've been thinking about it. And like I want to like write about it. I haven't had the words to like write about it. And here I am just talking about it a little bit, but I want to say more about it. But and all I can keep thinking about is like, we need to stop monitoring ourselves.
Mm.
Like, let yourself cry. Let yourself fucking smile. Like, what have we done in our society that we can't cry?
Mm.
What have we done in our society that we can't fucking smile? Like, you can't be happy in that moment for what, right? Having appreciation for what that thing is. And yeah, it was just like, and he's seeing it again. It was just like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, why did I just rob myself of an experience?
Yeah.
Totally just rob myself of this like incredible fucking experience. Why? And you almost did it too.
Yeah.
Right?
But that's the pattern, right? And so it starts with awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing where that pattern happens.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a choice to continue that pattern.
Yeah.
Or change it. And if I didn't cry and I held it in, I'd be continuing. I'd add to that blockage, right? So like it would continue to build up, like, you know, and that's what happened again. That's where things then show up.
Yeah.
Because it's not moving freely. It's not integrating. And it's the same thing with like robbing yourself of that joy, right? And because for some reason at some point, like we're told it's selfish to be happy, or who knows, like I'm just throwing something random, but like I always ask the question to myself, like, who is that showing up, right? Like who is that won't let you smile?
It's not
what
cool.
It's not
what
cool
is the
person, right?
It's not cool. My story, and like I dove deeper into it, and we're not getting into the past selves yet, but my story was like, it's
forever.
Forever. It's not cool. Like, like you can't be cool. You can't be cool in being like having this dorky smile.
Yeah.
And I have no clue where that came from, because like I've never been cool. Like I just need to get that out. Like I've never been cool. Like I've always been dork. Like and I'm cool with that. But somewhere there's a blockage. Somewhere there's an issue, right? Like I think I have to be cool, or I don't know. And what sucked is I said that, you know, I didn't get to have that experience, and I still can look back at the words that were said, and I can't have that feeling again. Like it brings joy and like gratitude that those words were said.
Yeah.
But that feeling in that moment, I lost it forever. I never got it back. And if you would have suppressed it, right? Like maybe you could have like found it again. Maybe, you know, you could have, you know, gotten some experience from what you had if you would have suppressed it and down the road. But in that moment, right? It's just like to the, you know, our point about being consistent. Like you've never done that yoga pose right now. And I lost that fucking moment forever. I never can I get that back. The words were said. The words can be said again, but I can never get that moment back. I can never get that moment of happiness back. And I was happy. I just wasn't like, you know, like the meter, like, yeah, my happiness meter was like in the middle because I stopped it. But if I would have let it go, like I would have broke the happiness scale. And that's not cool for some fucking reason. That's not cool.
Break the scale.
Right. Break the scale. And it's not just happiness. It's sadness. It's joy. It's fear. It's just take the moment to be in the moment, because you're not going to get it. Yeah. To be, because you're not going to get it back. That moment's gone, right? it comes and it goes. You have the next moment, but it's not going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's going on in your next couple weeks?
So I've been. Oh my god! I got to tell you a story real quick. It's like everything that's been. So I did have something like weird happen. So I've been traveling for work. I'm down in Texas, and I was in El Paso, and it was like biblical rain.
Yeah.
I swear, like the Bible, like all the things, and I'm not like religious at all. I am spiritual, but I'm not religious at all. And like the Bible is like coming true. Like we're having like the cicadas back east, right? The locusts are here, right? We have a plague. I was in El Paso. We had fucking floods, like floods. I have not seen rain like this. So I was at a jiu-jitsu gym I was visiting in El Paso, and we come out of the gym, and there are cars like buried like window deep in water where like we had no problem driving to get in there.
Yeah.
And so like we had to rescue like 2 old ladies out of their car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like go into the water and like pull them out. And I mean, I'm talking older ladies, and it was wild. It was a wild experience, and then trying to navigate through a town I didn't know. Like you make a turn, and then there's another massive, and I'm talking about puddles, but like these are like 4 feet deep in the middle of like streets that you should normally be able to cross. Like I make a turn, and then there's this massive puddle that, okay, I can't go through that. I got to turn around, try to find a new way. And it took me like an hour and a half to get to a restaurant for dinner that I was trying to get to, which should have taken 15 minutes, which took me 15 minutes the night before. And then from the restaurant to my hotel was an hour, when it should have taken another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so it was wild. It was a crazy time. And then I'm working through Wednesday, where Wednesday we leave for Alaska for 2 weeks. And we're going to Alaska for 2 weeks with my niece and my wife, and we're going to see family. My wife's grandmother is turning 91 up there.
Wow.
So we're going to see some family, but we're also going to explore. We're going to go to Denali National Park. We have a few things planned there. We're going to do a flight tour, get in a little like 3-seater airplane and like fly around Denali. And like they fly you like close to the peak of Denali in an airplane.
Cool.
So a little bit of that, as well as we're going up to a place called Chena Hot Springs up in Fairbanks.
That's the place I want to do the retreat. Tell me how it is.
I will let you know. I'll get some information. So yeah, we're going to Chena Hot Springs up in Fairbanks. I highly doubt we're going to see any northern lights. The switch is broken right now.
I think it's not till
it's not cold enough, and it doesn't get dark enough. So darkness. I was looking at like a calendar of like that tells you the level of darkness, and up in Fairbanks, I think there's like 2 hours of dusk. Not even darkness right now. So 2 hours of dusk while we're there. As you come down to Anchorage, I think we get like 2 hours of darkness, and then like 2 hours of dusk on the opposite sides of the darkness. Or dusk and dawn, I guess that would be. And then right back to daylight, which is going to be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Then we're going to go down to the Kenai Peninsula.
You gonna fish?
Going to do some salmon fishing.
Yeah.
Going to do some clam digging. We're going to see the Kenai Fjords National Park. We're going to do some kayaking over there at the Kenai Fjords National Park.
Cool.
We're going to do some hiking on a glacier. It's going to be, we're going to do some camping in a van. Our aunt has a van, a Westfalia, a Volkswagen Westfalia van.
Cool.
And we're going to hippie, 3 adults in a van is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But that's why we do it, right? We travel to get out of our comfort zones and see new things, try new things. And yeah, and then we're going to end the trip back in Anchorage, celebrating her grandmother's 91st.
Cool.
Hanging out with family, exploring the town of Anchorage. There's a lot of cool things in Anchorage, as well as some really cool hikes, some things like right outside the city.
Nice.
And yeah, then I don't even want to think about the end of it because it hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Yep. But then it's hunting season.
I
I'm
know.
so fucking excited for hunting season. But
but be here now.
yeah. So we have a lot going on, and I'm really excited for it. Really excited. Like we haven't traveled like we normally would do at least one big major international trip a year, and then other little trips. In a year and a half, we've been to Phoenix a few times to see family, and those really aren't trips for us. Those are that's to see family. Seeing family is not a vacation. It's actually work, right? So we haven't had that. The last trip we went on was Hawaii in September of 2019, and my wife was sick on that trip.
Yeah.
And so that's almost 2 years without traveling. So it's going to be really good to disconnect and what a trip to bring it back. Where you're not going to New York City. You're not going to skyscrapers and concrete. You're going to freaking one of the most remote places in the world.
Yeah.
Denali National Park. What is it? Tallest mountain in the United States. Or no, North America, right? Tallest mountain in North America.
Last frontier.
Some of the best fishing, salmon fishing in the world. Yeah, I'm super stoked.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and pictures, and it's gonna be really cool. So your parents are in town right now?
Yeah.
That's cool. We're visiting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When do they go home?
A week from tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, with that said, go spend some time with them. Go spend some time with them.
Well, I haven't. It's I have been able to. They flew back from Florida with me, but it's I had 2 weeks of. I was very limited on my laptop and doing kind of that other work during the learning period, and then I got back and I took people out backpacking, and then just some work stuff with my parents, and so I need I have that feeling of catching up on computer stuff because I haven't been I've been working but in a different way. So but
that's cool.
It's all good.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, enjoy your time with your family.
Thanks. Yeah. Journal prompt.
Yep. Grab your journals. And let's see. We're gonna split this into two. We're gonna do a little travel segment of journal because I'm traveling, but we're also gonna do a little bit of what Bre was talking about that I tied into with just monitoring yourself, right? Monitoring your experience, and maybe it's a smile, maybe it's tears, maybe it's just breathing, right? Just taking a big breath in, letting a big breath out, monitoring yourself. How, where, why do you do it? And just try to notice it, right? That's the key. That's the first key to this is we don't know that we do it, right? I had no clue. How many times before this last time has Bre held in the tears, right? She doesn't know. She's not going to be able to go back and count. She might be able to recall certain days, maybe I got sad this day and whatever. But she's not going to be able to really count. But she's going to remember this day, the one where she let it go, right? She's going to remember that experience. And for me, it was recognizing that, wow, I'm monitoring my fucking smile, my fucking happiness. So maybe just write about the thoughts that come up with that, and then just start monitoring your monitoring, right? Monitoring, are you monitoring yourself? Are you holding back who you are? And when you do that, you're not impacting the world, right? You're impacting the world by not impacting the world, right? You're not giving yourself to the people around you, and you're not having as great of an impact as you potentially could, because you're holding it in, and you're not giving everything to yourself and to the world around you. So just write a little bit about that. And then the second thing, we've all been cooped up inside for a year and a half, right? Like a year and a half, it's been vaccine this, mask that, whatever your thoughts are on any and all of it. Where have you traveled to recently? What was really cool about going there? Or where do you want to travel to? Or where are you going to be traveling to? And while it's great about being in the moment and being here and now, but it's also good to have aspirations of like, hey, like what I'm excited about Alaska. That's not happening right now, but I'm also appreciative of this moment right now with Bre. So just write about like, hey, what does my travel look like? Maybe you don't want to get the vaccine, and a lot of countries may not allow you in there, and quit thinking about that. You still have the opportunity to travel. There's still so much of the state you're in, the city you're in, the mountains of, the state, the forests, the deserts of where you live, where you belong, that you have not explored. That there's plenty of exploration for you to go out there and just be one with nature or with whatever it is that you want to go be a part of. And maybe you feel the opposite. Maybe you're like, yep, got my vaccine. We're good to go. I'm going everywhere. I'm going to fucking Germany, Paris, Austria, right? Like we're just doing the backpacking in Europe trip, whatever it is. That's cool. And just write about that. Maybe you did that, and that's cool. So, in there, and
sweet.
Bre, it was a pleasure as always.
Yeah, always. If you want to follow us and our adventures, you can find both of us on Instagram. I'm at Bre Allison. That's BreAllison.
And I am at The Life of Alan Tatone, underscores between each word. To check out our offerings, yoga, one-on-one trainings, workshops, retreats, and a recorded library, you can find the info on our website, thehunterandthehippie.com.
If you have questions for the podcast, about the podcast, feedback, suggestions, or just want to say hi, or find ways to work with us, our email is thehunterandthehippiepodcast@gmail.com. And don't worry, all of this will be in our show notes.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hopefully you weren't tuned out.
To the Hunter and the Hippie podcast.